What's wrong with yoga? Plenty. How much does that impair your ability to live a well-rounded life of doing nothing but living the yoga lifestyle? Significantly. That's why in this video, my good friend Erin Motz, the one and only Bad Yogi, sat down with me to have a bit of a United Nations peace talk about yoga. We wanted to selflessly make you pay attention to us through this video so that you could have a more selfish life of 100% pure grade A yoga. So get ready to take notes. And moderating this discussion is none other than the United Yoga Nations peacekeeper, Rich.
Erin, what would you say is the most important part of practicing yoga?
Definitely just to find what feels good. I think we can easily get caught up in all the fancy contortion-like stuff on Instagram. So do what is replenishing for your body and not just what punishes it.
Ultra Spiritual JP, what do you think?
The most important part is being better at yoga than other yogis. Yoga is not about helping your body, it's about using your body to help your yoga. Ironically, your yoga, which has been helped by your body, is then what helps you be better at yoga than other yogis. The only thing it should replenish is your superiority. Erin.
What, in your opinion, is wrong with the yoga culture?
I think there's plenty, but we're trying to change that. A lot of online yoga communities and real life yoga communities, there's a lot of self-righteousness and exclusivity, and I just think there's just generally a bad attitude. So if I could change anything, and if there's one thing that's wrong with it, I would definitely say it's that.
It needs more diversification. I say let's find a way to integrate at least some white women between the ages of 22 and 35 into the yoga community.
How spiritual do you have to be to do yoga?
Well, I'm pretty much never the most spiritual person in the room, and when I first started my yoga teaching career, I was basically in a romantic relationship with Taco Bell. So if I can have a successful career teaching yoga and a successful practice, then I think anybody can.
If you're not spiritual, you have no business doing yoga. And if you're not doing yoga, there's no way you're spiritual. So if you're not spiritual, you better do some yoga. But you better not even start yoga if you're not spiritual in the first place.
How do you define a good yogi?
I don't know that I would, but if I had to, I guess I would just say someone who just is curious about doing yoga and follows that curiosity no matter how inexperienced or bad at it they think they might be.
Someone who knows how to wear at least $200 worth of skin-tight clothing from Lululemon, and someone who knows how to convince themselves that that actually helps their yoga. A good yogi also knows how to know that they're better than people who don't do yoga. That's what a good yogi is.
The U.S. is one of the largest polluters in the world. Accordingly, what would you do to reduce the number of yoga selfies on Instagram?
I feel like I should have a really passionate stance against yoga selfies, but honestly, I'm just not offended by them or bothered by them.
The problem with yoga selfies is you can't capture the riveting magic of your boring stretch when you're only taking the picture at arm's length. That's why I'm a big advocate of taking what I call someone else's. It's when someone else actually takes your picture. It's cutting edge. It lets the full expression of your boring stretch be captured by the photo, which then gives everyone else on Instagram a better life because they get to see more of you.
What is the ideal number of Instagram followers that a yogi would need before being considered a guru?
That's not a thing.
If you don't have at least 100,000 followers, you're just wasting oxygen. I'm connected to over 500,000 people on Instagram. You could say that I'm a major Instagram yoga player, but that would be a little bit too humble of you. I have like 63 followers. But I follow over 499,000 people. Just like they always say, a leader leads from the front, but a guru leads from the back because they have nowhere to lead you. That's how good of a leader they are.
How many pictures does it take, on average, for you to get a shot worthy of social media?
I try not to fall too far into the trap of being obsessive about that kind of thing, but I definitely do sometimes where I'm like, does my face look stupid in this? And then I have to take it again. So it depends.
The Dalai Lama teaches that if a picture's worth taking, then it's worth taking until you look better than you actually look. So if you're not taking at least 10 pictures to get the one worth posting, then it's clear you just don't care enough about what other people think of you. Do you really care that little about yourself?
The benefits of veganism have been widely debated. What do you think as a bad yogi is the most ultra-spiritual dietary path?
To be honest with you, spirituality doesn't really enter my thought process when talking about food and nourishment. I try to eat, 80% good stuff, and then the rest is just burgers and booze. I'm kidding. Sort of.
Instead of going to hell like Erin, I'm a strict vegan. The most beneficial part of eating a vegan diet is all the soy-based meat substitutes. As someone who avoids anything to do with meat at all costs, the last thing I want to do is eat something that doesn't resemble the texture, shape, flavor, and color of animal flesh. That way you get all the pleasure of killing and eating an animal with none of the blood on your hands.
Exactly how much gluten have you had today?
Well, I live in France, and gluten is like the lifeblood of this country, so I will probably turn into a baguette.
I'm offended that you would even think I'm tolerant to gluten. Eating gluten's like committing suicide, only it's worse for you. Over my dead body will I eat gluten. In fact, gluten's probably what killed my dead body. What's the next question?
I'll send your small intestine some healing white light, JP. What's the most ultra-spiritual yoga posture?
I feel like someone who's way more ultra spiritual would be more qualified to answer this, but I don't know. Down dog?
I'll tell you exactly what the answer is by not telling you what the answer is. It's the one that requires the highest amount of purposeless flexibility. And if you don't know which one that is, you're clearly not ultra spiritual. And I would pray for you, except praying's too religious to be spiritual. Instead, I'll intend for you to be less flawed than you are now.
Are your chakras aligned right now?
I literally just got back from a chocolate festival. A festival of chocolate. So you do the math.
I hate my bottom 5 chakras because they're not spiritual. I love my 6th and 7th chakra because they're the spiritual ones. And are they aligned? It's like asking a dolphin if the water's wet. It's wet and salty.
Who is yoga for?
Anyone! I always say that yoga is for anyone from the kale-loving vegan to the prize-winning deer hunters.
I don't know if deer can do yoga, but yoga is only for yogis. Leave it to the professionals, kids. Wow, that's priceless yoga wisdom right there. Now you can live the good yoga life. Thank you, Erin, for all your enlightenment. I like my answers better, though. And you'll receive lots of good karma if you go over and subscribe to Bad Yogi's channel. Erin will share with you lots of Bad Yogi practices and insights. And of course, when you subscribe to my channel, you get lots of the naughty bad karma, which is much better than good karma. Your feet are so warm.
Welcome to my life.
You done yet?